Well, welcome everybody to the sand dunes of Koksijde here in Flanders in Belgium for round 2 of the UCI Cyclo-Cross World Cup. It's a bright day today and the crowd's already starting to fill the sides of the course. The mechanics ready in the pits as we get ourselves ready for the women's race. And this Koksijde course dives into the sand dunes very early on into the race. Not too much hard packed surface in this course. Some very tough run-ups and tricky sandy descents, and then just a very short run on the tarmac through the finish. Just to give you an idea already with the support races having gone on this morning, the sand's pretty cut up. The breeze is just keeping the temperature down, around 12 degrees. Cloudy, but actually pretty pleasant as it goes. Not too bad for the riders. Certainly staying dry. And looking forward to some great racing here in really the heartland of Belgian Cross. Here are the standings after round 1 in Valkenburg. Katie Compton of the USA for Trek Factory Racing leads. Helen Wyman with that second spot. De Boer, Van Looy, Anderson with a fantastic ride there. Elle Anderson in 5th place. Nikki Harris in 6th. Sanne Cant in 7th. But look out for her. She has hit a very strong seam of form recently. Became the European champion. And she is looking pretty strong. So some strong teams here. Obviously, number 1 not on the start list. That is the reigning world champion Marianne Vos. She is currently racing in South Africa. We hear she may not start her cross season until Namur. But also in there some very strong riders. Lucy Chanel Lefebvre always starts well here. Caroline Manny as well. Usually racing in the USA, but here on European soil. Helen Wyman, Nikki Harris leading the British charge with Gabby Darren. Another US-based rider coming in, Hannah Payton in there. And this US team, which is getting stronger and stronger with every round, headed up by Katie Compton. Elle Anderson and Meredith Miller also had fantastic rides in the Netherlands. Have a look also for Paula Havlikova, who's going very strongly. Riders from Spain too, Mercedes Patioth, who a lot of the British spectators out there will know from the National Trophy racing here too. So we've got a pretty strong field for this women's race. And with 39 riders from 13 different countries. And the roll of honour for Koksijde. Katie Compton looking for her 5th win here, her 3rd in a row. And Vos, the only other rider currently racing who is going to really be able to compare with that. But Compton, so strong. And remember, in round 1, she didn't have the best of starts. Had a mechanical, came up through the field. And the amazing thing about Katie Compton is she just always seems so confident. I was speaking to Stephen Wyman earlier today, the husband of Helen Wyman and the manager of the Matrix Pro racing team, and he was commenting on just how psychologically strong Katie Compton is. It's almost as if she's won the race in her head before anything else happens. So it is going to be a matter of who can dislodge her, I think, here. But the home crowd, I'm sure, will be looking to see if Sanne Cant can step up and take the win on home turf here. Racing gets underway at 1:30 here, Central European time. And the crowds are starting to fill out. We're looking forward as well. We go from one of the established venues in UCI Cyclo-Cross World Cup racing here in Koksijde to a brand new venue next week first time ever coming to Great Britain, with round 3 raced at Milton Keynes. And I know that the guys there have been working in very, very hard in preparation. Some new features going in over the last week, a new start straight and some steps. Challenge already been thrown down to Tom Mason to see if he will be riding all of those steps. It'll be interesting to see next week how Tom and all the others rise to that challenge. A brand new course for them to take on. Here though, the women's field. Telnet Fidea with their trio of riders right in the centre. Helen Wyman reverting back to her British national champions colours after a season spell in the blue jersey of the European champion. So the front row, Lucie Chanel-Lefebvre from France. Always a good starter here. Sophie de Boer, she is going to be heading up the Dutch challenge here. Third in Valkenburg. The new European champion, current Belgian champion, Sanne Cant. Just in case you're wondering why she's not wearing blue, the European jersey doesn't have to be worn in priority to national jersey. Los Cels. On that front row, Ellen van Looy. Also there, big Belgian rider, one of the taller riders. You'll be able to spot her in the field. And Nikki Harris, former British champion, still looking for first victory really this season. She's come close. Been a few races where she's been denied by mechanicals, coming back from a bit of a crash and injured ribs. And then in the leader's jersey of the UCI Cyclo-Cross World Cup, Katie Compton for Trek Factory Racing. As I said, looking for a 3P here in Koksijde. If you are a fan of Katie, it's a great chance to meet her actually before the World Cup round in Milton Keynes. If you're going to be there, you can find out more, I think, on the Milton Keynes website. Helen Wyman, the British national champion, completes the front row. And counting down just a couple of minutes to go for the race start. So it's a short run from the start on the tarmac. And then into a right-hander. And then very soon after that, we've got a steep climb. And if you can get over that with momentum, that can give you 5 seconds advantage over somebody who's running. It is really that important to be on speed right from the start. So here, Koksijde, this is actually a military base that we're on here on the part of the airstrip for the start area, then dives into the sand dunes. For what is one of the most testing courses. Can is down over the bar. She's really fired up for this and underway. Sanne Cant does get a good start here. So too does Compton. And De Boer as well. De Boer's going to lead them through. Chanel-Lefebvre with a good start. Gabby Duran as well with a very good start on the inside there. Up to 5th place. Gabby Duran, so a strong start for her. Just looking, going through the back there. That's Mercedes Pacioz from Spain. But it's Deboer on the front. Compton just moving up on the right-hand side of your screens. Deboer, Kant, Chanel Lefebvre, Van Looy, Halikova as well. Telnet Fadea with arguably the tallest and shortest riders in women's cyclocross. And Sabrina Sturgeons has also moved up a little bit there. This is the first of that tough sections, and you can see there all these riders having to run now. If the rider in front of you comes to a stop, then that is it. And already you can see the advantage for those riders who were riding. It's just strung things out a little bit. Sophie de Boer really going for this here. From the gun, putting the pressure on. Compton just off the front of the chasers. Wyman was in there as well. Just going through the screen there, could see Magali Rochette from Canada. Canada with a few representatives in this round, with the men's quite well represented later on. But it's the Netherlands that lead us here. Kant in second place. Chanel Lefebvre in third. Compton just tracking down Halikova now. You can see the sand coming through the grass there below. Gabby Duran, well placed as well, having a run. Now, Nikki Harris trying to ride it through, and she holds up Wyman. This is the tough part, because on the sand you suddenly come to a stop. Seen some of the under 23 men in earlier races literally come to a stop because they hit the wrong line. De Boer looks confident, looks strong, leading them through. And those three, De Boer, Kant and Chanel Lefebvre, are starting to move. Oh! Compton goes over the handlebars. Fortunately, it was all pretty slow and pretty easy, so unlikely to have injured herself, but just another problem with the momentum. The front wheel just dug into the sand. Dropped her down a couple of places there. So De Boer, Kant, Chanel Lefebvre are clear. Then, trying to come across the gap is Ellen Van Looy. And here's Nikki Harris leading the chase. Grim determination on her face there. Gabby Duran riding well. Looking for Wyman somewhere back now. Helen Wyman, her big target, I think, is going to be next week at Milton Keynes. She's just come off the back of a very tough training camp down in Spain. So not really her sort of course, and I don't think she's expecting to set the race on fire here. She just wants to keep position, keep those points in the bank, so she stays in contention for the overall. And at the moment, this is helping really, because these riders are a little bit further down the ranking than Compton. If she can stay near Compton, then that's good. De Boer is the best placed overall of those three leaders, third overall. Kant is 7th overall, and Chanel Lefebvre 12th. That's Martina Mikloskova, the Czech national champion, coming through. And Compton is having more problems here, it looks like. And so too Wyman. Wyman's just marking Compton by the look of it. At the moment, early days in this race, but again, not the best of starts for Katie Compton. She's had that little off, few little niggles. And at the other end, so Sophie de Boer is looking very comfortable for the Park Hotel Valkenburg Continental team. Sanakant is going with her. Chanel Lefebvre just distanced slightly, but really going kamikaze there on that descent. to come back under the pedestrian bridge. Nikki Harris going well as well. She's just there in 5th place, ahead of her teammate Halikova. Katie Compton, though, a little bit further back, as to is Wyman. A lot of running, I think, is going to be on the cards here in this race, because the sand, obviously the big problem with the sand is the line you had last time round isn't there anymore. Doesn't stay constant. So hard to find a clean route through it. Dubois has a little look, and again they're starting to distance Chanel Lefebvre. Sanakan getting plenty of encouragement from the Belgian crowd. Harris riding particularly well, considering she's got that rib injury. And Sanne van Passen continuing her strong comeback here. She was 9th in Valkenburg. Currently up there in the top 10 yet again. Chanel Lefebvre, oh, powers up that climb there. And you can see the benefit. She came right back up, made up about 10 meters just by riding. Let's brought it right back for Lucie Chanel Lefebvre. Onto the wheel of Sanakan. Van Looy just tracking them down, trying to close up. And we're just a few kilometers north of the French border, and because of that, plenty of support here for Chanel Lefebvre. Also, I think quite a lot of support for the Brits, because seeing around the course, there's been a lot of Brits on course. Just so on the side there, Gabby Duran has come off there on that descent, getting helped back in, I think, by one of the spectators. And that has allowed Compton and Wyman to go past. So Duran, who had such a good start, has come a cropper there. So first lap about to be completed, and Dubois has got a little bit of a gap here, has a little look behind to see who's come with her. And at the moment, she's going to have a handful of seconds advantage over Sanakant. Then comes Chanel Lefebvre, then Van Looy. And then it's going to be Sabrina Stultjens. Nikki Harris. Nicola Skova having a very good ride here as well. 18th in Valkenburg, but the Czech champion coming up there ahead of her compatriot Halikova. And then 9th place Compton with Van Passen on her wheel, and Loos behind them. And then Wyman was just off the back of that group. Powerful acceleration there from Kant up the climb. So too from Chanel Lefebvre. But Sophie de Boer is going for this one. And at the moment, it's Chanel Lefebvre who is the lure for the chasers. Compton starting to move up. We know she's a bit of a diesel. Doesn't always start the strongest, but comes on very strongly over the closing parts of the race. But she is going to have to pull out a big ride here, I think, to close in, because De Boer is just looking like today might be her day. Into the sand again, trying to keep the power down, just fishtailing slightly. She hits a section of that sand. Good strong riding there by Kant to close in. And Chanel Lefebvre is getting picked up here. And Sabrina Sturciens, world ranked number 14, is leading the chase for that third podium position. I think it's still Van Looy just behind her. Compton just a little way back there. Looks like Harris still in there. And Kant has made a move here. Kant has come through. So just whilst we were watching the others, Sana Kant has closed in on De Boer and has moved through. So I don't know if De Boer made a mistake or Kant just came through very strongly, but it is now, the graphic there saying De Boer at the front of the race. It is now Kant who leads. Chanel Lefebvre just about to be caught by Sturciens. Van Looy there, and she is just ahead of her teammate Nikki Harris. Nikki Harris, her face an absolute mask of concentration. Then comes Mikulaskova and Compton. Van Passen just behind her, and then Havlikova. Sana Kant, though, is having the season of her life so far. Picking up back-to-back wins over recent weeks. Now the European champion. But De Boer is working hard to try and stay with her, and coming back to her now. Had a little gasp from the crowd. Not sure if there was a problem, but because Chanel Lefebvre has been caught here by Sabrina Sturciens. And it looks as well like Nikki Harris has got the better now of Ellen Van Looy. So Nikki Harris starting to come through. European medalist, former British champion. And Harris still looking for that elusive World Cup win. Oh, going down there, that is Van Looy, has gone down on the descent, and she's moved back, then dropping back through the positions. Just shows you seconds inattention or just picking the slightly wrong line, and your race suddenly goes from good to bad. Sana Kant, though, and Sophie De Boer managing to stay clean so far. Not too many problems for either of them. And I think they're going to be building up that lead over this second half of the lap. Chanel Lefebvre just staying ahead of Sturciens. And Nikki Harris is starting to close in, and I think Harris could well be reeling those two in if she can get some tempo going. Kant trying to ride it here through the sand dunes. De Boer opting for the run. At the moment, Kant is just playing off, but just coming a cropper right at the end there. Just broke up her momentum, and she didn't gain too much of an advantage in the end. Harris, though, looking strong now. Just looking to see where she is relative to Sturciens and Chanel Lefebvre, and it's probably about 20-30 meters, but here comes Compton now as well, moving up past Mikulaskova and Van Passen. So we could start to see the Compton Express moving up a few gears. De Boer and Kant keep trading that lead, testing each other. Sturciens now up to third place. Can Chanel Lefebvre stay with her here? Or is it going to be a Benelux 1, 2, 3 at the front of the race? Bike change there for Nikki Harris. And that might allow Compton to close in on her. Just to give you an idea, the pressures on these tyres remarkably low. I think in the under-23s race, Sean Dunlop was running something like 23. You need to have grip on this sand, and frankly, there's so little sections where the rolling resistance is going to be a big problem. There isn't a lot of hard pack. There's just a very small amount of tarmac. So Stoltjens is beginning to open up the gap here on Chanel Lefebvre. Chanel Lefebvre is consistently a good starter at this course, but I think she's starting to pay the price, and you can see there the gap is growing, and Stoltjens is actually closing in on the two at the front as they come on to the finish straight. If you look carefully, they'll give you a great idea of just how low a pressure they are running on those tyres. 3 laps to go. Stoltjens has moved up there. And Chanel Lefebvre with a little bit to do, I think, to close up. Compton has caught Harris here. Partly, I think, down to that bike change. And Katie Compton, the World Cup leader, with Harris locked in a wheel. She needs to track down De Boer, because De Boer was third in Valkenburg. And so, as it stands at the moment, De Boer could be riding into the leader's jersey. Really hard attack there again from De Boer, wants to stay clear. And Stoltjens just stuttering as she got to the top of the bank. Chanel Lefebvre still there in 4th place in the no man's land between the leaders. And Compton and Harris, just a great visual representation there of how one small mistake on the sand dunes can cost you time and distance there. Stoltjens was right with the leaders up until the top of that bank. Compton and Harris, though, safely over, and I just have a feeling they might start to reel in Chanel Lefebvre. And then once, if they can catch her, then maybe bridge across to Stoltjens. Got to take my hat off, though, to Sophie De Boer. She's really gone for this one. Right from the start, Sannekamp, we know he's on great form at the moment and is such a good sand rider. So always was going to be a challenger here. Stoltjens as well, starting to come back to the 2 leaders. Compton, though, coming through. Such a versatile rider. Remember, she's been a paracycling tandem pilot. She's been a US mountain bike champion. She's been a track champion. Very good rider. Good rider as well. And very, very powerful, of course. So coming through the split point, Kant and De Boer now have 8 seconds over Stultjens. After the last lap, Compton was 31 seconds down on De Boer. It'd be interesting to see where they are at this intermediate point. Chanel Lefebvre just 20 seconds back, so she's losing time on the three leaders. The question is going to be, are Compton and Harris and Mikulaskova also losing time here? 40 seconds is the gap. So actually, Kant, De Boer and Stultjens have pulled away from the others. And Sanne Kant with another little attack here. Into the sand again, up the bank. Just applying the pressure once again. Again, De Boer manages to come back. Stultjens still in the mix here. If there's a mistake ahead, she is in a good position to pounce. As they're heading down towards the finish area. Kant again setting the tempo. De Boer with her. Harris just coming through this dune section there. Slightly ahead of Compton again. Mikulaskova is riding well. Very slight figure, Mikulaskova, but she just skips across the sands. Bigger riders do tend to dig in a little bit. Lots of encouragement here though for Sanne Kant. Not had a Belgian women winner in Koksijde in the recent years, so Sanne Kant could be on her way to making a little bit of history here. And it looks to me, just looking at that little shot there, it looks to me like these three have extended that lead even more over Chanel Lefebvre. So there'll be 2 laps to go as they come through this time, and it could already be the main selection again. Sanne Kant is just powering through the sand section, just gaining a slight advantage over De Boer. De Boer just ahead of Stultjens, then it's going to be Chanel Lefebvre, then Harris. They're in 5th place, Compton in 6th, Mikulaskova in 7th. I can tell you a little bit further behind, Van Passen, Halikova, Van Looy, Wyman and Rachel Lloyd running in that order. Onto the tarmac then. Sanne Kant with great technique there. Oh, Mikulaskova's got a problem, I think. Looked like a little mechanical problem coming into the sand there, and Compton just powering away from her a little bit. Kant, though, at the front of the race, running it through onto the descent with a couple of meters lead over De Boer. Then will come Stultjens. Got the Canadian fans at the side there. They'll be cheering on Magali Rochette, the Lunar Pro Team rider. And Chanel Lefebvre, former French champion, still there in 4th spot. Little look over the shoulder for Kant. She knows she's still got company on a run in. Sabrina Stultjens looking like she's trying to find something here to close that gap. on De Boer, but can't. I think now is starting to feel she's got to go for this. She could be making a big, big statement in this World Cup. Just unzips the jersey, just a little bit of cool air in. 2 laps to go. De Boer's come right back up onto her wheel. Stoltjens in 3rd spot, still there or thereabouts, just 7 seconds down. It'll be interesting to see now where Chanel Lefebvre is. Here she is. She's kept that gap round about. I think she's lost about 5 or 6 seconds more. In fact, it's going to be a little bit more than that. It's going to be another 10 seconds she's lost, Chanel Lefebvre. And it'll be from there. It'll be looking back to see where Harris, Compton, Mikola Skova are. And it's Harris who is there. Mikola Skova, you can just see behind her ahead of Compton. Harris then at 50 seconds. And that's closing the gap slightly on Chanel Lefebvre. So she's got 2 laps to try and get herself up there. Podium might be out of the question, but more points are available. De Boer is back on the front now, trying to test camp once again. Stoltjens again, dragging herself up to the lead 2. Chanel Lefebvre in 4th place still, as she has been for a little while. Just had Helen Wyman going through ahead of a chase group, 8th through to 11th. She's got Havlikova, Van Looy and Van Passen with her, so not too bad for Wyman on a course she's not massively keen on, I think. She's keeping herself in those points. Stoltjens again with a little bit of a problem. And again, Canton De Boer just managing to distance Stoltjens. Just to give you an idea, last lap there for Camp was at 8:23. De Boer 8:24. And then some very slow laps coming in behind them. Now, and De Boer going again. Can't having to really go for it here to try and get back to the Dutchwoman. Sophie De Boer looking to spoil the Belgian party here. With a lap and a half to go. Just opening up that gap, 3 seconds over Kant. Then comes Stoltjens in 3rd place. Chanel Lefebvre still there in 4th place, just tantalisingly ahead of Nikki Harris. Then comes Mikola Skova and Compton. Now, as it stands at the moment, De Boer is riding towards the victory and riding towards the leader's jersey of the UCI Cyclo-Cross World Cup. Remember, she was 3rd in Valkenburg. So if she can take the win here, that would put her into the jersey. 2nd might still do it, depending on where Compton finishes. Kant and Stoltjens still there. Stoltjens managing to get back up. It's going to be interesting if it does come down to a sprint finish here, because with the tyres running such soft pressures, it's going to be hard work, that sprint. That is for sure. De Boer still looks cool and calm at the front. keeping that tempo high. Just to update you on the split point, Chanel Lefebvre has lost another 8 seconds, and Harris is closing in on her now. Mikulaskova, Compton in 6th and 7th, Wyman in 8th, Havlikova 9th, Van Passen in 10th place. Van Looy dropping out of the top 10. As we go, a little bit of a problem there for Kant. I think there was, fortunately for her, De Boer had a little problem too. Oh, there's a big problem now for Kant. Comes to a stop. Dropping back to 3rd place now. So it's Netherlands 1 and 2. Stoltjen's coming past there. And surely now this is where Sophie De Boer has to go for it. She's got to try and build on this now. Sanne Cant has been the standout sand rider of this part of the season so far. But Sophie De Boer now has an advantage over her. She has to make that pay. Stoltjen's, though, running very strongly. Taller rider, very long stride. Managing to close in a little bit there on De Boer. Cant, though, is just on, running on guts and determination here to drag herself back up. The bike squirrels all over the place, but she's managed to keep it upright and close back in on Stoltjen's. Sanne Cant looking to give the home crowd a historic win here in Koksijde. But at the moment, there are 2 Dutch women between her and that top spot on the podium. And Sophie De Boer, I think this would, this really would cement her as a rider to watch in the rest of the World Cup. Because it means she's going to have done well on 2 very, very different courses here. And the 23-year-olds. The 23-year-old from Drachten is looking for that maiden World Cup win. Sabrina Stoltjens has got herself back up onto that back wheel. Cant trying to come back up there. Nikki Harris still in 5th place, trying to track down Chanel Lefebvre. It's going to help Harris's position here in the overall standings as well. Mikulaskova running very, very strongly. Real diminutive figure. Mikulaskova skips over the sand there. 1 lap to go then for this trio. Sanne Cant ditches the glasses. And it is going to come down to the last 3 kilometers or so of racing. De Boer, Stoltjens and Cant.
En hier komt dan dernière tour.
Now, De Boer did give us a good indication at the start of this month that she was on good form. She won the GP 2020. at Oudenaarde, and of course she was on the podium at Valkenburg, so we know she's on good form. Nikki Harris still in 5th place, and the gap has gone back out there from Chanel Lefebvre back to 22 seconds. It's going to be interesting to see then where Compton, Mikaela Skova. Compton is not staying with Mikaela Skova. Looks like she's got something in her eye, maybe. Looks like it's damage limitation, maybe, for Compton here in 7th place. Mikaela Skova riding strongly, 18th at Valkenburg, so this is going to move her up as well. Palahavnikova on the podium, remember last year at Tabor in her home World Cup, currently in 8th place. Wyman in 9th, Van Ooyen 10th, and we are going to see a big shuffle now in the World Cup standings. De Boer is looking at the moment like she's on course for the World Cup leaders jersey. Can she do it with the win? Remember, Kant was 7th in Valkenburg. Stoltjens didn't race there, so didn't points there. Oh, Kant with another little problem. And a woman who's been so strong in the sand has had more problems than the 2 Dutch women. And De Boer again, surely now, if she senses she's got this lead, she has to go for this. They're not going to want to risk it in a sprint finish. It's a very short finish straight. And every time Sannekamp makes a little mistake and has to come back, that uses up just a few more joules of energy. Chanel Lefebvre still in that no woman's land in 4th place. I think she's going to stay there. I can't see Nikki Harris coming back to her, to be honest. At the moment, De Boer again trying to just stretch the legs of the other 2. There's Harris going through in 5th place. De Boer, Stoltjens and Kant. Out of front, little fishtail there from Stoltjens, but kept it going. De Boer leading them through then. Stoltjens and Kant, though, are right on her back wheel. So much encouragement coming here. A lot of people want to see Sannekamp here taking the win on home turf. But she is having to work hard here now to stay with the 2 Dutch women. De Boer setting the tempo. This is going to be arguably the biggest day of De Boer's career so far. Compton still in 7th place. So if it stayed like this, De Boer would have 105 points. Compton would have 88. Camp would have 73. Harris would be on 65. So De Boer, not only if she takes the win, will she get the leader's jersey, she'll get a nice little buffer as well. Would help her in a big way if Stoltjens can get between her and Kant as well. And that would give her the leader's jersey coming into Milton Keynes. However, if De Boer comes third in this lead group and Compton can pick up one more place, then she will hold on to that jersey. So it is all about the finishing positions here in this group, not just about Compton not having the best of days. The crowd starting to roar on Sanne Cant now. She's been sitting in there on that back wheel for a little while now. De Boer has been setting the tempo. Be interesting to see how much that's going to cost her. And Cant threads the eye of the needle to go from third to first and get ahead here. And that's just given her a metre or two lead over De Boer. So I think Cant just used that to get her breath back, get herself ready, hit the front on that section into the sand. Always better to be leading than following on the sand, because if you make a mistake, chances are you'll hold up the others. And Sanne Cant has gone on the attack again now. And Sanne Cant has got the gap this time. Can she hold on? The Belgian and European champion. This is where she made the move, just threaded the needle between the two Dutch women and hit the front. And Sanne Cant has gone now. She is riding that bike like she stole it. Looks over her shoulder, trying to hold that gap over De Boer and Stoltjens. De Boer, can she muster some more energy to close that gap? Sanne Cant, I think, has timed this to absolute perfection. The gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And Sanne Cant is going to come home to take the win for Belgium. She is the woman on form in the sand. Sanne Cant takes the win here in Koksijde. The Belgian and European champion takes the win. De Boer, I think, is going to get pipped here in the sprint for second. Stoltjens takes second. And this is all going to depend now on where Katie Compton finishes as to whether or not De Boer has done enough to take the leader's jersey, because De Boer is going to have 90 points. If Compton finishes in 7th, she'll have 88. So she needs to catch and pass Mikola Skova. Chanel Lefebvre, I think, is going to hold on for 4th place here. She was 12th in Valkenburg. So moving up quite a bit. Lucie Chanel Lefebvre is going to take 4th place. Still waiting for confirmation on the photo finish there between Stoltjens and De Boer, but it looked to me like Stoltjens just moved up strongly at the finish. Nikki Harris is going to come in for 5th place to follow on from 6th place at Valkenburg. That's going to make sure she's on the front row for Milton Keynes. And when you consider she's riding with a rib injury, that is a very strong ride there from Nikki Harris. Mikola Skova, I think, is going to hang on here for 6th place. Looking over her shoulder, Mikola Skova, the Czech champ, is going to take 6th. And it's Havlikova in 7th. So Compton is going to be losing that leader's jersey, because Compton has dropped right back here. Big problems here for Katie Compton. She's been passed by the 2 Telnet Fedea riders. So Havlikova is going to take 7th place. I think Van Looy is going to take 8th. Is going to be somewhere down. Wyman takes 9th. So Wyman gains on Compton. Compton here, not looking her normal self. She's struggling here, she's puffing. Maybe some problems there with the breathing, but she doesn't look comfortable. Katie Compton, not the way she would want to lose that jersey. Acknowledges the crowd, but she does not look in good condition here coming across that finish line. Normally, we say top 10 finish, people would be pleased with that. Katie Compton is going to be having to dissect that, I think. But Sana Kant, we knew she was on good form, but my goodness me, she was on perfect form here. Takes the win here, the first Belgian woman to win a World Cup or a World Championship race here in Koksijde. 11th place goes to Sanne van Passen. Rachel Lloyd takes 12th. Stoltjens is given second place then. So that will put De Boer on 90 points, and that, at least, from Compton's point of view, that does give her the slightly less of a gap to overhaul. Julian Verschuren has come in for 13th, Gabby Durin in for 14th, and Caroline Manny 15th. This is where it all started to go wrong, really, for Compton. Over the bars there, De Boer just kept attacking, but Sanne Kant responded every single time, and on the sand, Kant looked strong. She made mistakes, that is true, but always managed to come back to De Boer and Stoltjens. Some uncharacteristic mistakes, really, from Sanne Kant in the sand. But this was the move. Just took them by surprise, hit the front. And as soon as you're at the front, you dictate the pace here. And then she went absolute full gas to open up the gap. Ended up winning by 7 seconds over the sprint finish. Stoltjens, I think, benefiting from doing slightly less work on that last couple of laps. And the crowd's here enjoying the sand dunes, enjoying the racing. Here's the unofficial result then. Kant taking the win for Belgium. Stoltjens second, De Boer third, Chanel Lefevre fourth, Harris fifth, Mikulaskova in sixth, Hablikova seventh, Van Looy eighth, Wyman in 9th, and Compton in 10th. Van Passen, Lloyd, Verschuren, Durin, Manny, Verstraeten, Macherus. She dropped back from quite a good start. Gita Michaels, Belgian mountain bike champion, in 18th. Crystal Anthony 19th. Lois Sels in 20th. And the Sophie De Boer fan club denied the chance to see their idol taking the win, but I think they are going to be seeing her donning the white leaders jersey of the UCI Cyclo-Cross World Cup. There's the confirmation then, just 2 points in it. De Boer 90, Kant 88, Compton 82. So very close there, up at the top. Don't be surprised if we see the jersey changing ownership again next week in Milton Keynes. And in the end, the sprint finish, Stoltjens had it comfortably, almost a bike length ahead of De Boer. So disappointment of coming third there, probably going to be tempered slightly for De Boer with taking over the lead of the UCI Cyclo-Cross World Cup. But the day, all about that woman, Sanne van Kant. taking the win for Belgium. Nick Jego there, a stalwart of British cyclocross, enjoying the race atmosphere rather than putting on a race. He runs an amazing race in the UK. If you get a chance to see it, it's actually run in a heritage museum in a Victorian town. All of the officials wearing Victorian clothing. And we're going to hear from the winners now.
Sanne, many congratulations. You take the victory here in Koksijde. How does it feel?
Yeah, really good. It was a goal for me to win today, so I'm very happy I did it.
Ja, het was een geweldige strijd hè, voor jullie. En je deed daar een heel slim manoeuvre vlak voor die Albertijn.
Ja, het is, op 2K heb ik eigenlijk net hetzelfde manoeuvre gedaan en toen kon ik derde worden. Dus ik wist dat dat een heel belangrijk punt was. Maar het is natuurlijk, je moet zien dat je dan geen fout maakt in de afdaling. En het lukte echt perfect, dus ja, dat was een goede plan van mij.
Ja, je doet ook een uitstekende zaak met het oog op het klassement, want je staat op 2 punten van de leider, van de leiderstrui.
Ah, serieus, dat wist ik niet. Dus verschiet ik wel van Valkenburg, dus was mislukt met kettingproblemen. Dus ja, ik ben blij dat ik dan heb kunnen opschuiven. Wel, ja, spijtig dat je misschien met de stukken in Valkenburg had ik misschien nu wel de leiderstrui gehad. Dus dat is wel spijtig dan.
Oké, dankjewel. Proficiat nog eens. Sanne Kant.
So they were talking there about the move, and that was the move that gave Kant the lead at the crucial point of the race. And has put it just 2 points off the overall lead. Heading towards the podium then, our race winner.
Dan gaan we schoon beelden hebben, denk ik. Je komt tweede op en je neemt plaats achter de podium.
And we're about 25 minutes away from the start of the men's presentation. Remember, their race starts at 3 o'clock Central European time. As our riders head towards the podium. And invite you, if you've got any questions or comments about our coverage of the UCI Cyclo-Cross World Cup, please do send me a tweet here in the commentary box. It's at World Cup Dan, and we'll try to answer those tweets if we can. But it's time now for the protocol ceremony for round 2 of the UCI Cyclo-Cross World Cup. In 3rd place then, Sophie de Boer of the Netherlands for Park Hotel Valkenburg Continental Team.
Van de organiserende ploeg hier, met de felicitaties voor de anderen dan de prachtige bloemen uiteraard.
Real animator of the race here today, de Boer, from the start, trying to set the pace.
Tweede plaats, graag uw applaus voor de Europese jeugdkampioene Sabrina Stultjens.
Second place for Sabrina Stiltjens of the Netherlands, riding for the Rabo Liv women's cycling team.
En ze heeft de trofee uit handen van de Scheep van Sport gekregen en de bloemen uiteraard. En de zone voor de tweede in de uitslag vandaag, Sabrina Stultjens. En dan...
Taking second in that sprint, but sure there's going to be a great reception for this woman. First Belgian winner here in Koksijde. The European and Belgian champion, Sanne Kant, takes the win. One in style in the end here. She has hit such a rich vein of form over the last few weeks.
De felicitaties en de zoenen voor de winnares van vandaag, Sanne Kant. Dames en heren, mag ik jullie aandacht voor het nationale hymne.
And so, the national anthem of Belgium. So congratulations to the winner of round 2 of the UCI Cyclo-Cross World Cup here in Koksijde, Sanekant of Belgium.
Kortstondige ziekte, maar nu mee vooraan strijden voor de en zeker ook nog in die wereldbeker. En ik zou zeggen, Koksijde laten we nog maar eenmaal horen voor Sannekamp, Sabrina Stoesjes en Sophie de Boer.
So, a couple of new names on the podium for this season.
Het basiskampioenschap van bedrijven is ook hier, hè?
Ja, 2018.
Ja, maar toen had ik een waardekampioenschap en toen weer een waardekampioenschap.